Okay, sorry about that.
You probably have to repeat everything you said.
Yeah, I do. Okay, yeah, you guys can pretty much guess it. I did go through the introductions. You know who it is: Lincoln Clay, the Godfather of gaming, the VR King of the Crumb Side, all that good stuff. And today I decided to do something a little bit different. If the stream seems a little bit choppy, let me know. And I think the last stream I did, where I did the unboxing, when I looked at the replay of that, it came back extremely choppy, and I think that was because I was uploading a video at the same time that I was doing this stream, and I've got pretty good download speed, but I don't have very good upload speed, so I think because of that, the video ended up coming out kind of choppy. So if this video comes out kind of choppy, let me know. If you guys can hear me loud and clear, I'd like to think you guys can hear me because I'm looking down at the meter, and I see that the meter's moving along with my voice, so you guys should be able to hear me now. So I had something on my mind, and I thought I'd do a short video about it. I don't expect to be on more than a half hour, 45 minutes, and I decided to do a little bit different today. I decided to do it Anthony of VR 365, do it a little bit different, do a live stream with the camera from my living room, and just something a little different. Hey, thanks D Truth, appreciate it. Grab a little drink here of my Powerade Zero with zero sugar. So, getting down to it, the title of this stream should say that PSVR 2 will surpass the current PSVR. I thought that was going to be a tough task at first because I think the current PSVR last reported numbers that we got was 4.2 million sold. I'd like to think that the numbers are significantly better than that by now because there has been a couple of sales, bundles, what have you. So I'd like to think that they're sitting at least 4.5 million, and I'm hoping that they reach 5 million before the PS5 comes out. But after my hands-on with the Oculus Quest, um, in the and some of the conveniences of the Oculus Quest, I am absolutely convinced that PSVR 2 will surpass the current PSVR. And I'll give you a list of reasons. And I think the first reason why I think PSVR 2 will surpass the current PSVR, this is probably the biggest one of them all, and that is the rumored price. If the price is $250, that will be the biggest factor. You know how it is with casual people. Price is always the thing with them. It's that the price has got to be right. While I think $250 for the next iteration of the PlayStation VR will be a little too good to be true, at the same time, I don't think they'll go that $500 route again. So yeah, if they did do $250, that could, they're definitely going to have a stranglehold on VR, tethered VR headsets. The Quest, the Quest, I think by the time the Quest comes around, by the time PSVR 2 comes around, sheesh, the Oculus Quest. Hey, Gamertag VR, what is up? Just decided to do something a little bit different. Talk about PSVR 2, how I think it's going to surpass the current PSVR. And I was giving my list of reasons of why I think that's going to happen. And I think the first reason why it could possibly happen would be the price. If that rumor of $250 turns out to be true, I think that would be the biggest reason as to why PSVR 2 could surpass that. I appreciate that gamer tag. All things considered, considering how much weight I lost, my weight is stabilized at around 200 pounds, give or take. But for the most part, I feel great. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. The second reason why I think the PlayStation VR 2 could surpass the current PSVR is the wireless, and that is where the Oculus Quest opened my eyes. The convenience of the Oculus Quest, just be able to just go anywhere with it. Now, granted, with the PSVR 2, you're only going to be able to go so far within within your play space or within your living room, however you decide to set it up. But that wireless, that's going to be huge. Hey, thanks a lot, Gamertag. I really appreciate that. I'm still doing what I got to do. I actually have a doctor's appointment this coming Wednesday, and I think that will probably determine whether they're going to take me off medication or not. Just a minute, I'll show you something. Okay, so this right here is my glucose meter to measure my blood sugar. These are the test strips that I have to use. And this is the lancing device that I have to use. In simple terms, this device right here is what I have to, I have to prick myself in the finger with this, so I can get a sample of blood, so I can, get a measurement of my blood sugar. So, but I'm still feeling great. Appreciate it. So yeah, price and wireless I think are going to be the two biggest factors as to why PlayStation VR 2 will surpass the current VR. Give me 1 second to get a drink and then I'll go on to the next reason. Woo! Nice and cold and delicious. Oh, Powerade. There we go. Hey, no problem, no problem, gamer tag. I think the third reason why PSVR 2 will exceed the current PlayStation VR is I think it's going to have a longer shelf life. If you stop and think about it, the PS4 came out in November of 2013. 2 years later, Shadow, what's going on, man? How you doing? 2 years later, we had, in October of 2016, we had PlayStation VR. Here it is 2 years later, and we're already looking at the next generation. So, PlayStation VR right now has only been on the market for 2 years, and we're already looking at the next generation. So, at the most, the current iteration of PlayStation VR is probably only going to be on the market 2 more years. Naturally, it's going to be on the market 1 more year, since everybody's speculating that the PS5 is going to come out in 2020, and then there's more people that are speculating that PSVR 2 will come out in 2021. So if that's the case, 2 more years, a total of 4 years that the current PSVR will be out on the market. I think PSVR 2 is going to have a longer shelf life. One, because I think it'll come out a year earlier. So PS5 will be on the market 2020. Everybody's speculating. PSVR 2 comes out 2021. So only 1 year. You think I'm right? Hey, I appreciate it. So I think that by the time PSVR 2 comes out, the PS5 will only have been on the market 1 year. So it's going to have a longer shelf life. And I think that because of all this cloud-based gaming looming over the horizon, with Google trying to kickstart that shit, and Microsoft, jumping into that fray as well. I don't like the sound of it, but game streaming, cloud-based gaming, could inevitably be the way of the future. With that being said, if that be the case, Sony is ready for it. So I think the PS5 could be the last traditional console that we get out of Sony or out of anybody. And so because of that, I think it's possible that Sony may try to stretch the next generation out as long as possible, because I think the PS2, I think they stretched that one out 10 years before they like finally shut everything down. So I think they're going to try to do something similar with the PS5 if game streaming, cloud-based gaming ends up being the way of the future. I think that Sony's going to try to stretch this generation out as long as possible. So with that being said, PSVR 2 I think could have a shelf life of 6, 7, 8 years. And not to mention that if it does come out at $250, as time goes on, that price will get cheaper. And then another reason why I think PSVR 2 will surpass PSVR is content. That is, we can't say enough about the importance of content exclusives. And I think since Sony, I don't know if we'll get as many exclusives coming out of Sony for the PSVR 2, but I do think they will be higher quality. And with games like GT Sport, GT7, whatever they want to call it, I think that I think it's going to be a given that game is going to have VR multiplayer. So that right there is going to give the game longevity. The game's probably going to last throughout the entire generation, especially if they keep adding tracks, cars, and all that kind of stuff. So games like GT Sport, GT7, whatever it might be, that's going to be huge for the advancement of the PlayStation VR format. Oh yeah, hold on. Hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and show y'all. I got 4 VR headsets in here as of right now. Gamer tag. So here's the Quest. Here's my Rift S. Here is my PlayStation VR headset. And lastly, here is my Oculus Rift CV1. Here's the sensors. I got 3 of them. I had 2 in the front right here on the TV, and I had another one right here up against the wall here. The third one from behind. So with these sensors, I had superior tracking. Here's my flight stick that I bought specifically for Ace Combat 7. At some point, I will buy some more flight games through Steam or whatever the case may be, and I will get more use out of this. No, I don't feel like grabbing the whole. There's my foot pedals for my Thrustmaster T150. The racing wheel's right there, but it's connected to a table, and I don't feel like lifting the whole table. Amongst other things that we got, like I'm a big toy dude. Here's a drone that I bought my son last year. Damn, covered with webs and shit. And right there, it's got a camera on it, and basically you Bluetooth this drone into my phone, and whatever the camera sees, it transmits it back to my phone. So I love my toys. That's why I don't have a problem working so much. That's why I don't have a problem working so much overtime. And Gamertag said, I love how VR gaming is so exciting, dude. It is. I absolutely love it. And you know what? I think now I'm certain that I am going to get an Oculus Quest. Um, the Oculus Quest has a role, as far as I'm concerned. We talked about it before, how it's the Nintendo Switch VR gaming, and it's not going to take center stage over my Rift S, but it is definitely going to be a valuable tool when I go on vacation. If I go somewhere for the weekend, if I'm in a hotel, trapped in a city that I don't really know much about, I'd be more than happy to pull that Quest out and get some gaming in. So, I really don't have much else, but give me a second. Let me check Upload VR. And see what other quick news we can go over before I go ahead and shut it down. But that was pretty much the breakdown of why I think PlayStation VR will surpass, the PSVR 2, while it will surpass PSVR. I think price, wireless. Do I still use the CV1? No, because it's just going to be a headache going back and forth between the Rift S and the CV1. And the fact of the matter is, using the CV1, the only advantage that I'm going to gain using the CV1 is the tracking. With 3 sensors, I'm going to have superior tracking. But the tracking on the Rift S is close enough that I do not feel like I need to hook it up. So, pretty much with the CV1, I'm just sitting on my ass. Basically, I'm looking to sell it, but I want to sell it to someone that I know, because something like a VR headset, you can't just hand it to them and say, "Here, pay me." They will want to see that the product works. So if I have to let somebody in here, I'd rather it be somebody that I know, somebody that I trust. So I'm basically looking around for people that's interested in buying it, but at the same time, I'm looking to Fatal Sharad, what's going on? Lunky, what's going on? But at the same time, I'm also looking to get in touch with a couple of my YouTube friends that I think might be interested in getting on board with VR gaming, and see if they might be interested in buying it as well. So let's take a quick look at Upload VR and see if there's or Road to VR, either one of those sites, and see if there's anything worth talking about before I boogie on out of here. Let's start with Upload VR. Take a second for this to come up. Hey, everybody in the chat, if you're down with VR, make sure you subscribe to Gamertag VR's channel. He does developer interviews. He does a lot, and I mean a lot, of game streams. He usually streams a game and gives his impression of it the day that the game releases. So if there's a game that you are curious about on VR, chances are when it comes out, Gamertag VR will be streaming it. So if you're interested in checking out those streams, make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's just as passionate about VR as I am, so make sure you subscribe to his channel. See here, Half-Life on VR, which Gamertag I think did just stream that.
Gamertag says he sees.
Oh, you said
protein
you see that my protein stacks. Hold on a second. You mean this? You mean this big old bucket right here? This huge bucket right here. I paid $15 for it. If you were to go into a place like GNC, this thing would easily be $50.
Okay.
So that's bigger than my head. Now right here, this weight gain. When I first noticed something was going wrong, when I first started losing weight, and I was like, man, something's wrong. When I seen how quick I was dropping weight, I went out and bought this weight gainer, which is up to 1,600 calories per serving. I was doing that to try to slow down the weight loss. But it turned out that as far as the weight loss goes, people were telling me you can eat as much as you want, but you're going to keep losing weight until you get diagnosed and treated.
Okay, now it's time to get back on topic.
Yeah, I know. Let's see here. What do we got here? Team Rocket invades Pokemon Go with new Shadow Pokemon type, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Firefox Reality VR browser hits Quest
Hey,
as
okay.
tracking data protection. So it looks like the browser Firefox is going to get involved in VR. It looks like it's going to come to the Quest. And Sean Murray, No Man's Sky VR is the perfect kind of sci-fi dream. And upload covered half Life VR. That's cool. And what do we got? Earlier this week, we got 3 new crazy ass songs on Beat Saber. I listened to them, and there's some wild shit. And there's some fast paced music too. But hey, you can't argue with the price free. I think I was the first to make a video thanks to DR Beef. Yeah, I do believe you did make that video. A lot of times, speaking of which, Gamertag, what's up, Coon? Gamertag, you are about 5 hours ahead of me. So by the time I get to work at 11 in the morning, it looks like you're well into your day. So a lot of times when you do streams, as much as I'd like to respond to them from work, I can't. So, if I'm on lunch break or something and I see you stream, I'll just like, hey, hey, what's up? So it doesn't look like there's really much else to talk about on Upload VR. We did have the Wolfenstein Cyberpilot VR, which Gamertag also streamed that earlier this week. So if you're interested in that game, go back about that. Saris is great. I didn't learn anything new about the PSVR 2 from any kind of sources. It's just my experience with the Oculus Quest and how convenient it is, and with it being wireless. I seriously think that the PSVR 2 is going to be a big hit, because the way things stand right now, they already got 4.2 million headsets out there. Those are the last reported numbers. So it's all good, my man. Got nothing but love for you. Appreciate it. We'll have to chat soon. Yeah, we got to chat soon. We got to hook up and do some. We got to do some Project Cars too. All that good stuff. It's so much stuff on VR. So many different games to play. It's just hard to play it all. I mean, you might play something today, it might not come back around to it for like 2 months or something like that. And so I'm trying to stay focused on Defector. I'm trying to finish that game. But I'll still try to slip tidbits of other stuff in here and there. But getting back to you, Saris, is great. Again, the Oculus Quest, the convenience of the Oculus Quest, the wireless stuff, that convenience. Since it appears that the PSVR 2 is going to be wireless, I think that's going to be huge, because currently as it is, there's we know the VR is growing, and people that don't have VR yet, they're talking about it, they're really curious about it, but a lot of them say the wire is what's holding them back. So a wireless headset for a PSVR 2, that's going to be huge. That's going to get some new people on board that's currently on the fence right now. A rumored $250 price. You know how it is with casuals. Price is the first thing. So price is more important than convenience. So I think the price plus the convenience of a wireless headset, that's going to draw a lot of new people into VR next generation. And I think content is going to be another factor, because I think we're going to get bigger and better experiences out of PlayStation. Now, I don't know if we're going to get them pumping out games, every month or something like that. But I think when they do pump out a game, they're going to do it big. It's going to be some high budget stuff, shit that's going to take millions of dollars to make. So, so I think those are going to be huge factors. And then I think that the PSVR 2 is going to have a longer shelf life because, as I said before, with cloud-based gaming on the horizon, I think Sony's going to try to stretch the next generation out as long as they can. So it's so I didn't get anything from any sources. It's just something that I was like really thinking about. Like, how is PlayStation 2, the PSVR 2, how is that going to be received? And I think it's gonna be received pretty well. So let me go on over to Road the VR. That is the other one. And see what I can get out of that, and then get ready to shut it down. We've been online now we've been on the stream now about a half an hour. Andrew Wilkins, what is up? Nah, I believe I said what's up to Arian Drake. He was in there first. So shout out to Arian Drake. Sarah's is great. That $250 leak price tag. I don't believe that. Seems too good to be true. With those rumored specs. Hey, I said the same thing. It does seem too good to be true. But hey, I don't think it's gonna be $500 again. I think Sony might go with $300 to tell you the truth, and I think they might be willing to take a loss for $300 and subsidize it, through other means. So, Gamertag, thank you for your opinion, dude. It's almost midnight here. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Like button pressed on the way in. Appreciate it, Gamertag. Have a good night, man. And I'll definitely be in the chat. When you go on the gamer link or the VR link tomorrow, I'll definitely be checking that out. Tell Salsa Catch Up at 7 Degrees of Gaming. Tell him I said what's up. Lunkit just recently scratched my PSVR lens with my glasses, shaking my head. That's one of the reasons why I haven't been on my PSVR lately, because you can wear glasses, but it doesn't have as much room. The way the Oculus Rift is made, I can put glasses on and I got room to spare. But I think because of that, I think it makes it look like it's got a little less field of view. If you look in there, you can see how deep that is in there. So it gives you a little bit of room to wear glasses. And I can tell you that that 1440p, that is clear. But at the same time, the 1600p on the Oculus Quest is clear too. Just not, the graphics are a little bit watered down, but, for something that's on the go, it's to be expected. Cool. PSVR 2 and PS5 will be made in conjunction with each other. I hope you're right. In a perfect world, they'll launch, day and date together. I hope that's the case. But realistically, I think it's probably going to come out in 2021. Lunkin, nice, a lot more room, yeah. And then the thing about the PlayStation VR, there's actually a little bit of room in there as well. If you look, there's actually a little bit of room in there. The problem is this rubber boot on the side collapses. So it is possible for you to bring it too close to your face, if you're wearing glasses. So let me see what we got. Roll the VR. Check that out and see what they got, and get ready to boogie on out of here. They're saying the Wolfenstein Cyberpilot review, a Nazi killing mech game cut short. The reviews on Cyberpilot, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, the reviews on there haven't exactly been mind-blowing, to tell you the truth. So it looks like Index now available for immediate shipping in U.S. Valve promotes it on Steam's front. For one thing, they got to deal with this situation about the controllers on the Valve Index. That they definitely got to clean that mess up, because they're getting ready to have a PR mess on their hands if they don't address this shit. Gamertag, I think the PS5 E500 plus E50, between, but the headset will come bundled with Move controllers, wired wired, similar to Rift S, but with inside-out tracking and priced at $399. Hmm. We've seen, but we've seen patents for the PSVR for a VR headset, which looks to be wireless. Not only did we see a patent for a wireless headset, we also see the patent for what looks like the ability to wirelessly connect two headsets simultaneously to one console. So, and I keep forgetting about that. I keep forgetting to add that factor in there. You also say sorry, and with inside-out tracking like the Rift S. Well, I wasn't a big fan of inside-out tracking. I guess the fact of the matter is, somebody's got to take that plunge. When something comes out, I guess to put it in simple terms, somebody's got to fuck up so somebody can fix it. And so I think that's what we're dealing with this inside-out tracking. So to some degree, Oculus is this, is a sacrificial lamb. We know that the inside-out tracking was suspect with the Oculus Rift S. They ran an update through there, dramatically improved it, but there's still some work to be done. There's still a little ways to go. I think that by the time the PSVR 2 comes out, that problem won't even be an issue. Let's see here. And Sarah's is great. Speaking of the Oculus Pro, I think Sony pulled on PSVR 2 development from launching with the PS5, so they might just try to match Oculus Pro 1600 resolution. Oh, you mean I think you mean Valve Pro, not Valve Pro, the Vive Pro, because the Vive Pro does have a resolution of 1600, but that shit is ridiculous. That shit costs like $1,400, which is absolutely crazy. As it stands, I think the Valve Index, which costs $1,000, and the Knuckles controllers are revolutionary. $1,000 is still a little bit steep for me. I'm not with it. What's the and then we got I think the Vive Cosmos is coming. I don't know if it's coming this year or not. People were speculating that it was going to be about $900. HTC has come out and said that it won't be that much. They didn't give a price. So I think that made people speculate that it might cost $700 or something like that. So, but as far as Sarah's is great, rumors coming out is that the PlayStation VR 2 is going to have a resolution of 1440, which I definitely believe that, because in 2019, 1440 is the entry. That's just the price of entry. In 2019, headsets are 1440 and up. So they, so PSVR 2 is definitely going to come in with a minimum of 1440p. Gamertag VR, I think patents are great, and there's so many. Cost is too important to Sony as they have the biggest player base. Hence, older tech in the PSVR 2. By the way, I hope I'm wrong and it's wireless. I think it's going to be wireless. And when I saw that patent for the ability to connect two headsets wirelessly to the same console, I was like, whoa, shit. So if they're going to do something like that, they're probably going to have something in place similar to the Guardian, but it's going to work. It's going to be much more effective than the Guardian. I think what you might have is, like the Guardian, you might go ahead and draw out your boundaries. And then when you have two people, one here and one here, I think the PS5 is probably going to draw like an invisible wall between the two players, so they don't hit and swing at each other. They have to do something like that. I mean, because as it stands, my son and I, we hit each other a couple of times when we played Space Junkies crossplay. I was on the PlayStation VR, he was on the Oculus, and we were so busy trying to slash at everybody with swords and stuff like that, we ended up hitting each other a couple of times. I think with the PSVR 2, along with the PS5, I think it's going to have some technology in there where it's going to draw an invisible line, an invisible wall, so the two players don't bump into each other. But if they do something like that where you can connect 2 VR headsets locally, wirelessly, to the same console, that is going to be phenomenal. But I don't know. I think that's going to be a given, gamer tag, that PSVR 2 is going to be wireless. I think that's going to be a given. It was getting a little bit warm in here too. I elected not to turn on the PC because I didn't want to have to try to shout over it, because this Yeti microphone, that thing picks up everything. That microphone can hear a pin drop. Let's see here. We know that big screen. Right, I've got to go. You're addictive to chat too. Night, my friend. Hey, have a good night, gamer tag. We'll catch you later. Let's see. We know that big screen, that is coming to PlayStation VR. I think I mentioned that in the earlier podcast, that because of how strict Sony is and the kind of content that's going to be there, TV shows, movies, and that kind of stuff, Sony's going to be real strict on that stuff, getting out on PlayStation VR. So, they're definitely going to have to work it a little bit in order to bring it to the PSVR, to make sure people can't access shit that would get Sony in some kind of trouble or get them sued. So, but it's coming out a lot later than I thought it would. It's supposed to come out either later this year or early 2020. So that's something, I'm assuming that trying to stay out of the copyright shit is probably the reason why it's going to take so long for big screen to come to the PlayStation platform. And let me see. Starblood Arena shut down Thursday. I attempted to stream that because I was under the impression that the servers would still be active until midnight Eastern time. And I went live at around 10:30 to try to give myself at least an hour to play online. And I couldn't access the servers. I was getting a lot of error message that, cannot connect the servers, blah, 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 what have you. So I assumed they must have shut those servers down earlier in that day. So that's it. Farewell to Starblood Arena. It was one of the launch titles, I believe, on PlayStation VR when it first came out. It was a fun game, but because PlayStation VR was in its infancy and I was new to VR, I did get motion sick from the game. It took some getting used to. Let's see, Oculus Quest will support Oculus Go apps later this year. And see here. We know about the Oculus Quest updates, which is supposed to improve the tracking. It's the same update that the Oculus Rift S got. I can say that I haven't really had any tracking issues that I've noticed on the Oculus Quest. I will say that I did pick up a game called Dead. I believe it's a Dead Drop for the Oculus Quest. I expected to see some watered down graphics, but it was actually it actually looked pretty good. It was a game for $15. I think it might be a little bit of a wave shooter, but it's like a zombie horde type game that is actually kind of graphic. When you shoot the zombies in the head, it explodes. There's blood everywhere. And for something like that to be on the Oculus Quest was a little bit surprising. Actually didn't look too bad.
Okay, then it might be possible to put Pavlov on the Quest.
Hmm?
Well, it is possible to put Pavlov on the Quest.
It is possible to do it through VR desktop, but I told you it's going to be a lot of work because there's a lot of stuff I got to go through. So it's definitely not going to get done this weekend, but I'll try to have it done by next weekend.
All right.
Let me see. Star Wars Vader Immortal Episode 2 will focus on force powers. So, in the same way that Yoda trained Luke, it appears that Darth Vader will be training you, which you appear to be his apprentice or his possible apprentice. So I assume that in the next episode of Vader Immortal, you're going to be using the Force probably to move rocks, because as part of the as far as the cover art for Episode 2, there was a picture of Darth Vader with rocks, floating in the middle. So So that sets the tone for what kind of story it's going to be. And let's see. I think lastly, Blood and Truth got an update. Added a leaderboard. It added a Game Plus mode, which basically allows you to play the game again. I think at a higher level, but still maintain your progress from the previous play in terms of weapons and stuff like that you might have accumulated, weapons that you might have customized. So I haven't had a chance to look at that. You know, that's the one thing about VR. There's so many games out there that it's a little bit tough, you know, to stay with a certain game because it's like you want to try so many different experiences that you just keep, you know, playing different games all the time. But so I think that's going to do it, you know, and I definitely wanted to give this a try. You know, stream from the camera. You know, Google Hangouts goes away at the end of the month, so I'm trying to slowly but surely get used to using different programs to stream, and it looks like, you know, OBS is going to be my everyday driver. So I decided to go ahead and do a little bit of experimenting, and I'll probably do some streams like this once in a while. I think it's a little more. I think it might keep people a little more in tune versus seeing a still shot of my picture. You know, seeing me right here, you can see that I'm looking at the chat, definitely interacting with people. So, with that being said, let me see here. It is 7 o'clock Eastern time. I will do some kind of stream today. I think I'm looking at. I streamed Defector earlier today. I think I'm going to do that again because the part where I left off got really interesting, so I want to dive back into that and play some more Defector. So I think I will do that later on this evening. And I am still looking to possibly do Live from Wakanda in the morning. We will go from there. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. It's your boy Lincoln Clay, the VR King of the Crump side. I'm about to boogie on out of here. Deuces, I'll catch y'all later.